This video is only part of an unpaid, unbiased, in-depth review from an average rider's perspective, so check out the rest in the link below at thegoodride.com. If this video helps, please consider subscribing and buying through our links, or even better, become a member on YouTube or Patreon. You'll get exclusive access to video review shorts as we test gear, along with a lot of other perks. So thanks for watching, and I hope this review helps. Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and this board that's leaning lazily to the right is the Nidecker Tracer. It's an asymmetrical directional board, and that's why it looks like it's leaning on my shoulder, like somebody drunk at 2 a.m. would. Next to it is the ultralight and the smoke. They're not really that comparable, but on a lot of days that I was riding this, I also rode these. So I thought I'd just throw them in here. I rode this primarily with my Burton Kendo and Union Atlas and got this in a wide variety of conditions. Everything from mid to late summer Mount Hood to really good powder at Mount Bachelor and good groomers and a little bit of everything in between. To give you a short summary, this is a directional asymmetrical board that's a little bit narrower than some of the modern alternative free ride boards out there. It really likes to turn. It's a little more technical. It's a touch on the heavy side and the damp side, but it just likes to carve. It turns really well. It's kind of more of a one trick kind of board, as opposed to the other boards you see next to it that can do a little bit of everything in all conditions. This doesn't do that, but what it does really well, and it's a lot of fun to ride. So when it comes to sizing, this 57 felt right. I felt like I was on the right board. I could probably even go up a size and have a time with it. I think it fit my weight pretty well, but after getting off the ultralight and the smoke and getting on this, it felt more narrow and it felt smaller. So I'd be curious about sizing up one. And by the way, the ultralight's a 61 and the smoke I believe is a 58. Now when it comes to shape, this is a very unique shape. I've only ridden a few asymmetrical directional boards. There aren't many of those out there, but I liked it. It didn't feel super weird. I've tried this in the past. I set it up slightly duck, and this time I set it up more posy in the rear. I played around with stance angles. So I primarily rode it 21.5 widthwise and tried to put it close to reference. But then I went like 27.9, 24.6, 18.3, and I played with all those and they all worked well. I liked plus 18 and plus 3 a lot with this, and found that the board felt really good. It tracked well. Sometimes asymmetrical boards can be weird if you don't set them up correctly, and I wasn't exactly sure how to set this up. Like with an asymmetrical true twin, you put it perfectly duck and it works fine. With this, I didn't know where that front and back foot needed to be on the asymmetry, but I found that all those stance angles worked really well and it was really fun. And that's why I wanted to ride this again, because I really wanted to see what it does stance angle wise. But this is mostly camber and you feel it. It feels very technical, not a board that's super easy to skid a turn, and it's more for advanced to expert riders, but it tracks really well, and I'm glad that the asymmetry didn't make the side cuts fight one another when one footing or flat basing, at least in my experience when I was riding this in all conditions. Now let's talk flex here. This is stiff, super stiff between the feet. And then if you try to flex throughout, it gets that medium stiff feel because it's softer in the nose and stiffer in the tail. On snow, it wasn't an easy board to butter, and it took a little bit of work to access this pop. It felt like there was a layer between your effort and getting this board to pop, unlike the ultralight next to it, or even the smoke, or even the mellow. They just felt easier to access than this board. This board wants a stronger rider to really put some strength into it and some technical power to make it pop. But overall, this Flex personality is damp, it's fast, it's good in all conditions. It can be a touch cranky in harder, micro bumpy snow, but it's not terrible. It's very doable for this kind of stiff flex. But probably wouldn't be the first board I'd pick for all day resort riding, but it can hang for sure. When it comes to speed, this has very good mountain speed. It's very damp and in good conditions. I felt really comfortable picking up speed and going faster than I normally would. I'm no bomber, that's not really my thing, but this will do it no problem. In comparison to the smoke though and the mellow, I like those a little bit better. I think it's close with the ultralight, but you can get a little more chatter with the ultralight, but overall that thing can bomb too. So it's just all about personal preference and what you like, but this does have, the Tracer does have a very damp feel to it. The base glide is good. I liked some other boards better, like the ultralight's base, but overall, a very good base glide. It keeps its speed really well and can get through a long traverse competently. And when it comes to edge hold, this gripped really well. In hard snow, I could sink the edge in and it would grip throughout the turn. It might not be an ice specialist, but it's very good. When it comes to turn initiation, it was very fast edge to edge, especially coming off the smoke and the mellow. Going to this, it's fast like the ultralight next to me as well. I really liked this quick turn initiation. And then when you got it on edge, it had a very unique, very fun turning experience. I just liked all kinds of turns with this. I think, again, it leans a little bit more on the turny side, but I'm a little bit more of a turny rider. But I just really liked the way this carved across the groomers, but it also had that kind of fun carve where you just go like this, maybe not like this, but just kind of like semi-wide radius turns, down the line turns. This was really fun, but you could lay into it and get a really good circle carve as well. I really liked the way it turned on a heel side, and it felt like it was tailored a little bit more to my turning style. And overall, it's just a very competent, very powerful carving, very hard turning board. And if that's what you're into and you want kind of a niche board for quiver riding, I think this could work. It could even be good as a daily driver too, but for me, I was a little happier on the mellow and the smoke, but to each his own. When it comes to powder, I got this in a decent amount of powder and there's a good setback on board, but I just didn't feel like it was floating that well, especially coming off the smoke same day or the ultralight same day. I just felt like the Tracer was struggling a little bit more to stay afloat, but it wasn't bad for what it is, and you could have an okay time in powder. I'd just rather be on something else. When it comes to this kind of shape and directional ride, this lives more for carving groomers than riding powder, but it's doable. And overall, I thought the Tracer was really fun, and I'm glad I got to spend a lot of time on it and test out the different stance angles and see what this could do. And I think if you're looking for a really competent groomer carver, you might enjoy the Tracer. I personally liked the smoke and the mellow a little bit more, but this still has a very unique turning experience that's so different from those other boards that if you're a different style rider than myself, this could really appeal to you. Giving advice on YouTube is very difficult because I need a lot of info from you to actually help. So if you want real advice, fill out the Me Harmony profile in the link below so I can help you properly.